All right. Well, I guess I kind of mentioned this, so I'll start a little out of order in terms of my article, but who cares about my article? For the new guys, first impressions. So we talked Alan Roden, who's a left-handed hitter. I would say corner outfielder, although it sounds like they're going to play him a little bit in center just to see what they have there. He was one of two guys they acquired in the Louie Varland trade from Toronto. He's the only one add to the roster. I would say they acquired at least four guys who have major league experience. And so you could have just added all four of those guys to the major league roster. They decided to send three of them to St. Paul: Outman, Bradley, and Mick Abel. And they decided to add Roden, which is interesting. I don't necessarily know why that is, other than maybe they just feel like he doesn't have as much to work on. Like they don't really want to tinker that much. I think with Bradley and Abel, especially given that they're pitchers, we already actually saw Bradley made his first start yesterday, the day before for AAA, and was throwing his splitter a lot. And those are the type of things that you might want a guy to spend 3 weeks with the AAA coaching staff so that we can kind of check under the hood a little bit and start to institute some of the ideas that the Twins have that maybe the previous organization didn't have. With Outman, I don't really know what the idea is. Somebody suggested to me it was service time based, which I'll never put past the Twins, but a 28-year-old service time guy seems a little...
Well, the only advantage is you have to make fewer decisions when it comes to arbitration and whether or not they're worth their arbitration money. But I agree.
James Outman's hitting 140 in his last 2 years. I don't think that's going to break the bank arbitration-wise, but who knows? But yeah, Roden is the guy you're going to get a look at. And, he popped his first homer during the Detroit series. I think he's stylistically maybe like a less raw power and more plate discipline, strike zone control version of Trevor Larnach, in that he's a left-handed platoon bat. He's 5'11". Trevor Larnach's like 6'3", so you got that. He's right. More athletic, but what I mean is, like, you're hoping he's a guy against right-handed pitching that can either bat at the top of the lineup or in that like number 5, number 6 spot, something like that. His major league track record so far is pretty weak. He made the Blue Jays out of spring training at age 25. Played like 40-something games, hit pretty badly. They sent him back to AAA. When the Twins acquired him last week, he was at AAA. Off to not the greatest start with the Twins, but it's a handful of games. Like I said, he popped his first homer against Detroit. Overall, though, if you look at the AAA track record, he's played parts of 3 years at AAA, and he's been excellent all 3 years. He's a career 320 hitter at AAA. He's got about as many walks as strikeouts, which is always a good indicator. He's got, maybe 15, 20 homer power, maybe 12, 15, 18 stolen base speed. They're playing him in center field, so obviously they at least think he's got enough speed to not embarrass himself out there. It's interesting because, left-handed hitting corner outfielder ain't exactly a point of weakness organizationally in terms of the volume, at least, if not the quality of guys that you have, including Larnach, including Wallner. You have guys like Emmanuel Rodriguez at AAA. You just had Alex Kirilloff retire. Like, that has been a skill set and a player type that they have been long on basically forever. I mean, even the previous Twins regime had not just corner outfielders, but they had such left-handed dominant lineups, even like the, Corey Koski, Jock Jones, Minkiewicz era, and then obviously the Mauer Morneau era. Like, they were, I think in part they built that because they felt like it was an advantage at the Metrodome. To have a bunch of left-handed hitters, but that's stylistically, I would say the Falvey front office has leaned into that even more. So I know people saw Roden get acquired and go, well, don't we have 4 versions of that already? And I'm not going to say no on that. However, it's a new version. It's a new toy. He has less major league experience, which compared to like Larnach, there's fewer maybe warts and flaws and weaknesses exposed, at least in the Twins' mind.
Can I tell you what I think the the thing to watch here is? Larnach gets expensive next year.
Larnach is not really though.
Not really expensive.
Somewhat expensive.
But right. Compare for the Twins right now, potentially somewhat expensive. Like at the point where he's $4 to $5 million, which is not expensive for a regular, right? But that's he's in his second year of arbitration,
right?
I think at that point, and you've got Wallner who's cheaper, you've got Roden who's cheaper, and I don't think that necessarily means that the Twins are done with Larnach. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they would, not offer him arbitration, but I think they would be much more interested in trading him or moving him or something in the offseason to save a little bit of that extra money and possibly plug that someplace else. So the question becomes, can Roden prove to, over a 2-month period here, which is, I think, difficult to do, that he can sort of take over, Larnach's role at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, I mean, Larnach's making 2.1 this year. There's built-in raises via arbitration, which we always talk about, but I mean, he hasn't performed very well. His numbers in terms of an arbitration context, he's got 15 homers and 48 RBIs, which is something they look at a lot. He's hitting 246. He's got a 733 OPS. I will say this: I think there's very little chance that on opening day of next season, Wallner, Larnach, and Roden are all three on the Major League roster. I just think there's extremely little chance of that.
And welcome to the end of this video. There's lots more. For another, just click on one of these boxes.
Or click on this circle in the middle to subscribe to all of our Twins Talk.
Thank you.